Eliza, thanks so much for coming on the Mental Health Alliance podcast. How are you doing this morning?
I'm very well, Jonny. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Eliza is a good friend of mine. She is an antenatal mindfulness instructor and yoga teacher. She trained at the Oxford Mindfulness Centre as well as the Janet Velasquez Active Birth Centre. She lives and works in Oxford with her husband Tom and their 3 sons. So Eliza, to start off with, what is mindfulness?
So, to me, mindfulness is a way of seeing and relating to our experience of the world. And our experience of the world is made up of our thoughts, our feelings, and sensation in our bodies. Most of the time, we're unaware of what's going on in our minds and our bodies, which is normal and natural and essential to our survival. But all too often, our thoughts in particular can become our worst enemy and can drag us down. Thoughts such as, I'm not good enough, why does my sister-in-law hate me, I don't want to go to work today, I'm down and down the spiral. So mindfulness helps us to see these thoughts clearly as just thoughts that come and go, and helps us not to get so caught up in them. Once we recognise what we're thinking and feeling, we can choose how to respond. A world of possibility opens up with a bit of mindfulness.
How can mindfulness help with day-to-day living?
Well, let me give you a sort of here and now example, Jonny. If I were being mindful of our making this recording, I'd be aware of feeling nervous, of my heart beating faster than usual, of feeling ruffled. I'd also perhaps be aware of thoughts such as, am I doing a good enough job? What will people think of me? And I'd then be able to choose to take a deep breath or two, slow down a little, recall a little nervousness is natural and helps performance. Even remember that this is all about me and that I'm doing something to help you and hopefully others. So in other words, I see my experience as a passing event and respond to it vaguely intelligently as opposed to getting upset and frustrated.
The one question that I have to ask is, when you're doing it correctly, what does mindfulness feel like?
Mindfulness feels like different things to different people. This said, it does initiate the body's relaxation response in many people and can therefore feel very calming, but it can also feel quite agitating or distressing to focus on what's going on in your body and your mind when you've had or are having a tough time. This is particularly true of anyone who is experiencing an episode of depression or is experiencing and suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. This is why it's very important to learn mindfulness with a properly qualified teacher.
If I wanted to find a mindfulness teacher, where would I start?
I recommend searching for a teacher on the UK network for mindfulness-based teacher training organisations website. This is a listing that requires independent verification of a teacher's training levels and so-called good practice commitments. So far, around 150 teachers or so have been listed. And the address of this listing is https://app.ukmindfulnessnetwork.co.uk.
And is mindfulness becoming more popular today?
Mindfulness is certainly popular these days. In some parts of the world, it's been popular for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
The next question I have for you, Eliza, is why is mindfulness so important to you?
Mindfulness is critical to me for 2 reasons. The first is as a mother to 3 young boys, and the second is as a mindfulness instructor. As a parent, I often feel bored, frustrated, lonely, exhausted. Sounds dreadful, doesn't it? Me not to blow a fuse at every turn. It helps me to see through a sort of fog that is often clouding my vision and helps me to respond kindly both to myself and to my children. Mindfulness is also critical to me as a teacher of antenatal mindfulness and antenatal yoga, I want to share the many benefits of practicing mindfulness with other parents and parents-to-be. Becoming a parent is a tough old job, and mindfulness really helps to help you need to ride the wave and actually enjoy parenting.
What was it that got you into mindfulness in the first place?
Definitely having my own children. I mentioned being pregnant and looking after young children. Much easier to sit at a desk with a computer as I used to do before I had children. So yes, my children forced me to take up mindfulness.
Where did you study mindfulness?
At the Oxford Mindfulness Centre.
And is that part of Oxford University?
It is part of both the university and the hospital trust here in Oxford.
And so what do you do now?
So I teach antenatal mindfulness and antenatal yoga both privately and with the NHS, with my local hospital, John.
Why is mindfulness so useful to pregnant women and their partners?
Being pregnant and expecting a baby can cause a lot of stress and anxiety for both women and men. And mindfulness helps us to dial down that stress and to feel less anxious. It helps us to be kinder to ourselves. It also helps to cope with the physical pain of labour. So in class, we learn to tolerate pain by holding ice cubes. And we discover along the way that so much about pain is in the mind and the way we relate to pain. They said, I'm not a naturopath. I'm not here to assist on textbook delivery. Birth comes in all shapes and sizes. So we can learn how to deal with birth however it pans out, and most importantly for mother and child.
We're talking about antenatal and postnatal depression, really, but a lot of people don't realise or have never encountered or just don't really have an idea of what postnatal depression is. So what is postnatal depression?
Good question. So these days, Jonny, we tend to talk about perinatal depression. So that's depression during pregnancy and after birth. And you can have either or both. Postnatal depression is more common than antenatal depression, but the symptoms are the same. So you might feel sad and low, perhaps tearful for no apparent reason, worthless, hopeless about the future, tired, unable to cope, etc. Perhaps angry and irritable as well. And in terms of how you might behave, you might find your concentration is lacking, your sleep is disturbed, reduced appetite, talks about death, lack of interest in sex. These are some of the behaviours you might experience. And in terms of numbers, around 10 to 15% of new mothers develop postnatal depression. It usually develops within 6 weeks or so of giving birth and can come on gradually all of a sudden. We don't have the numbers on antenatal depression.
10 to 15% sounds like a lot.
I think it is a lot. It's 10 to 15% too many.
Yes.
And we are talking here not just about the mother, but about the baby as well. The great sadness with perinatal depression is that it has intergenerational effects.
Can somebody who is depressed practice mindfulness?
It isn't advisable to learn how to practice mindfulness whilst you're in the bout of a depressive episode. Just as you wouldn't jump to a pool and start learning how to swim if you had the flu. So the time to learn how to practice mindfulness is when you're feeling relatively well. Once it's become part of your life, you can make use of it to help you become aware of the signs that depression is on the horizon and to help you avoid spiralling downwards. Please note, I'm not advocating mindfulness as an alternative to medication or other forms of treatment for depression, e.g. talking therapy. It's absolutely vital that you seek the advice and support of your GP, who can advise you on the best course or mix of treatment for you, and mindfulness might be one of the mix.
That's essential that people understand that. It's not a complete alternative. It's something that would work with whatever treatment you've been given by a medical professional.
Yes, it is absolutely your GP.
And when is the best time to practice mindfulness?
There isn't a best time. Instead, a lot of people find it useful to identify a regular time. For example, first thing in the morning. A lot of people find it hard to practice mindfulness towards the end of the day when they're feeling tired, because mindfulness can be very relaxing. So many people, including me, by the way, fall asleep if we try to practice when we're tired. For me, the big question is, how do I make time to practice mindfulness? It's not easy to fit it into our busy lives. It's a bit like making time to go to the gym for a workout, or like learning a new instrument or a new language. You need to make time to do the practice, and it usually takes several weeks, if not months, before the skill kicks in.
So, Eliza, what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
Mindfulness is a form of meditation, and there are many ways in which you can meditate. I think of meditation as a generic term, like sport. So mindfulness is, if you like, one form of such sport. Just as football or hockey are real life examples of sport.
If someone said to you, why should I practice mindfulness? What would you say to them?
I mean, I do believe that some people are naturally mindful. In fact, I think most of us start out mindfully. Children are naturally mindful. But as we get older, many of us contract around our life experiences and trot out the same old reactions, feel the same old feelings, think the same old thoughts. And these feelings and thoughts can be very stressful, if not lead to depression. So my answer to your question is we should all practice mindfulness in order to grow and in order to respond thoughtfully, skillfully to our thoughts and feelings. And in order to spread that love, Jonny, at the heart of mindfulness is kindness. Kindness to oneself and kindness to others. And we need as much kindness as we can get in this world.
What kind of state does your mind need to be in to practice mindfulness?
The beauty of mindfulness is you don't have to be in a particular state of mind. The invitation when you practice is to pay attention to whatever state of mind you're already in.
So, if you smoke or drink or do drugs or all of the above, how does that affect your ability to practice mindfulness?
I personally find it difficult to practice mindfulness, in other words, to focus, if I were high or drunk. But there's no reason you can't do so between consuming fags, drugs, alcohol. This said, you may find with a regular practice that the desire to drink and take drugs falls away, that mindfulness can help diminish that craving for stimulus. We know mindfulness supports addiction recovery, for example. In fact, long-term or intense practice of mindfulness can feel like you're on a bit of a high, not a drug-induced high, which will evaporate when the chemicals clear your body, but an enduring high, altered state of being. In other words, feeling fewer negative feelings such as greed or selfishness or anger, instead experiencing more positive qualities, calm, kindness, compassion. I'm not there yet, Jonny.
It was all starting to sound so good. I was getting ready to practice mindfulness right after this. I was like, I want some of that. But it's not that easy or simple. It takes time, doesn't it?
It's a lot of practice. It's an ongoing journey.
And like they always say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, isn't it? So
Exactly.
And if you could give someone just one piece of advice in terms of mental health and looking after their mind, what would it be?
Connection, Jonny. Connection to yourself, through mindfulness, connection to your family, your friends, and your community.
Absolutely. So, mindfulness is clearly something that can change your life. How has mindfulness changed your life?
Honestly, it's changed almost every aspect of my life, Jonny, both personally and professionally. I suppose I care more about the world around me. I'm kinder to myself and others, less angry, less reactive. I'm still pretty fiery, but my intentions are mostly in the right place. I don't know, you tell me, Jonny, you've known me a long time.
No, well, you're definitely still fiery, that's for sure. So, what are the secrets to a healthy mind?
The top of my list is exercise. You also want to have a healthy diet. You want to get outside as much as possible, get close to nature, give to others, express gratitude for what you already have.
Okay, getting back to your plans and what you do, where do you want to be in terms of teaching ways to deal with pregnancy and postnatal difficulties?
So, Jonny, my dream is to make antenatal mindfulness more widely available, accessible, and affordable. I'd love to digitize some of the teaching that I do so that it can reach anyone who'd like to benefit from it.
What kind of courses do you offer?
So I offer group and individual courses for parents and parents to be both privately and alongside the NHS.
Fantastic. And do you have a website?
I do. www.elizasilk.com. If you're interested and would like to chat to me further about what I do or how it might help you, please get in touch.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Eliza. Remember to check out elizasilk.com, www.elizasilk.com, and we hope that after everything you've heard, you will consider making mindfulness part of your life. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.